In the previous life, I married the disabled female CEO, while my younger brother married the adopted daughter. He wanted to control the White family's fortune through the adopted daughter and even mocked me for marrying a disabled female CEO. In the end, despite using every trick, he still failed. The female CEO I married, under my careful care, successfully stood up and took over the company. My younger brother, jealous of me, drugged my food, causing both of us to meet our demise. When I opened my eyes again, we were back to the day of choosing our marriage partners. This time, my younger brother was the first to choose the disabled female CEO. I looked at my adopted daughter and took her hand. My younger brother didn't understand one truth: man can conquer nature. My younger brother and I returned to the Smith family on the day we were to choose our marriage partners. Just like in a previous life, Mr. White brought his 2 daughters to the Smith family. The disabled female CEO, Sophia, showed no expression, her face cold and aloof. The adopted daughter, Mary, wore cheap clothes, her eyes full of vigilance. The 2 girls were about the same age, but their attitudes were completely different. Before their mother could speak, the younger brother, Michael, grabbed Sophia's hand. "Uncle White, I am willing to marry Sophia." Sophia glanced at him but said nothing, her gaze ultimately lingering on me. Michael smiled smugly, casting a contemptuous glance my way. "Brother, now that I marry Sophia first, everything in the White family belongs to me. And you'll be stuck with this adopted daughter. Sometimes well-fed, sometimes starving. In the future, she'll trample you underfoot." Mary felt Michael's malice. She glanced up at him, then lowered her head, afraid to speak. I grabbed her hand. "The outcome is still uncertain. You and I are both dark horses. Who knows who will shine?" Mr. White and Mom smiled, but there was a hint of surprise in their eyes when they looked at me. Holding Mary's hand, I moved to the side and heard Mr. White and Mom talking. "Mother-in-law, are you really going to let George choose Mary? Mary is quite good-looking, but she just gives me the impression that she's too timid." Mom remained non-committal. "This is a choice he made himself. Adults have to learn to take responsibility for their own choices." Michael sneered. "Uncle White, why do you care about him? Anyway, since brother chose Mary, that's also helping the White family solve a problem. Speaking of which, she's been freeloading off the White family for so many years, you could say. Mr. White has completely exhausted his kindness toward her." Listening to Michael's triumphant laughter, I sneered coldly inside. He really thought that marrying a disabled female CEO would allow him to control the White family. In fact, that was just the beginning of his descent into the abyss. Thinking back to the things Sophia had done to me, a chill ran through my heart. Mary noticed a change in my mood, grabbed my hand, and comforted me. "Brother George, don't be afraid. Mary is always by your side." I looked at the little girl and couldn't help but pinch her chin. "Then you must protect me well, my little angel." Mary smiled, a smile that could captivate a city. The Smith and White families arranged a marriage alliance. The root cause was that Dad sacrificed himself to save Mr. and Mrs. White, and the White family set this up to repay their debt of gratitude. The White family had 2 daughters, and the Smith family had 2 sons. Both sides originally thought only one pair would be matched, but who would have expected both pairs to come together? Mr. White also made it very clear that whichever daughter is more outstanding will inherit the White group in the future. But anyone with eyes knows that the White group will only belong to Sophia. This is also why Michael was so eager to choose Sophia, and the choice he made played right into my hands. I remember in the previous life, he was the one who chose first, and this time Michael still made the choice first. Actually, I can guess the reason. Michael went to see Mother first. Otherwise, Father wouldn't have spared him from any blame. The reason Mother favored my younger brother so much was related to how he would flatter her. He would tell jokes and deliberately be attentive, always managing to make Mother laugh heartily. As for me, I was indifferent to all this, only showing up when Mother needed me the most. But now that I think about it, it's understandable why Mother didn't like me. Mr. White also hoped that Sophia would marry Michael so that the White and Smith families could form a strong alliance. The White family has the capital, and the Smith family has the technology. It could be said that this way both sides could achieve a win-win situation. In the previous life, Michael chose Mary and even mocked me. You married a disabled woman, so what good is having a pretty face? She can't do anything. No, it seems like all she could do now is eat. He was convinced that Sophia had been disabled for years and would remain so forever. And the Mary he married was supposed to soar to great heights. But under his beating and scolding, Mary never recovered. At that time, Mary started several businesses, but they were all sabotaged by Michael. Especially when Mary went to social events, he secretly followed her. Mary didn't avoid it at the time, and when Michael caught them holding hands, Mary was beaten so badly she nearly lost half her life. Since then, Mary never left the house, and the household expenses suddenly became scarce. Michael developed a lazy personality, and the two of them had a major conflict. Michael was abusive, and Mary filed for divorce. After this incident, Mom didn't hand over the Smith family's technology to Michael. Instead, she turned and gave it to me. But under my careful care, Sophia miraculously stood up. Coupled with her exceptional intelligence, she quickly took control of the white group. We got married smoothly and had a daughter. Both sides were very happy and decided to hold a grand celebration banquet. My younger brother, filled with jealousy, asked me to meet up. He actually poisoned the food, causing 2 deaths with 1 meal. Brother, why do you always want to compete with me for things? Oh, right. You don't know yet, do you? If I can't have it, no one else will. Let's destroy it together. I didn't hear what he said next because I'd already died, foaming at the mouth. Brother, you didn't expect me to be reborn, did you? Life swapped this time. The female CEO should belong to me. I'm leaving that loser to you. It's time you tasted what it's like to be a coward. She's going to torment you again. I said nothing, but a day passed, and Mary got into trouble. When I arrived at the company, I saw her surrounded by a group of people in the lobby. It was only when I got closer that I saw Mary's face bruised and swollen. The woman who had fought with her was ragged, looking like a beggar. Facing the accusations from the company employees, she clutched a photo tightly in her hand. Through her fingertips, I saw it was the first photo we took together when I chose her. I didn't expect her to actually wash it out. The obvious argument started because of the photo. When the other parties saw me arrive, they started shouting for compensation. I pulled Mary to my side and rubbed her cheek irritably. Did she start it? Did you win the fight? Mary stared at me in shock, her eyes full of curiosity. She was the one who made the first move. For a moment, she didn't know which question to answer. I had already understood and looked toward the woman opposite me. Did you understand? You were the one who made the first move, claiming we were acting in self-defense. At most, the police will get involved, and we will apologize to you. Hearing my words, everyone's gaze in the room focused on me. Apologize? How about I knock out 2 of your teeth first, then apologize? How about that? A wife is truly matched to her husband. Who does she think she is, daring to lay a hand on me? Do you know who my dad is? Believe it or not, he'll have him fired. Be smart. Just persuade her to kneel and apologize to me. The other side was clearly very confident, and the onlookers were quickly filling the entire hall. Mary tugged my hand weakly and said, George, how about we just let it go this time? Her dad is the company's vice president. I waved my hand dismissively. So what if he's the vice president? Does that mean he's above the law? Just then, Michael was passing by, pushing Sophia in her wheelchair. George, did you see that? Look at the kind of troublemaker you married. This is just the beginning. There will be tough times ahead for you. After saying that, he pushed Sophia away, not forgetting to leave a mocking glance behind. Come on, wife. They'll take you to the hospital for rehabilitation. Once you can stand on your own, you'll be able to fully take over the White family. Stop watching. They're in big trouble this time. Sophia looked up at Michael and said coldly, Let's go back. I ignored Michael and walked straight up to the arrogant woman, sneering. It wasn't your dad who fired us. It was us who fired him. We're done. The arrogant woman angrily called the police, but when they arrived and saw the evidence, they only told both parties to apologize to each other. In front of the police, the arrogant woman had no choice but to comply. Before leaving, She cursed and glared at me. I ignored her and took Mary's hand as we got into the car. Noticing that the vehicle was heading towards the hospital, she relaxed. Mary looked at me through the rearview mirror and weakly said, "George, are you really not angry about what happened today?" I stopped the car, turned to look at her, and said one thing. "Fool, you are my wife. I barely have time to care for you. How could I ever blame you?" I helped her treat the wound. Fortunately, it was only a superficial injury. After disinfecting and bandaging, she could be discharged. During this time, Mary kept leaning against me, just like a little koala. Seeing her so adorable, I just let it be. "It's so late today. I have to go home early otherwise." "Otherwise what?" "Don't worry. I've already informed Uncle White. After I finish here, they'll take you out to eat." Mary's stomach couldn't help but growl, and she immediately lowered her head to hide her embarrassment. "I'm not hungry. It's just my stomach that's hungry on its own." I took her to the best restaurant in town and ordered more than a dozen dishes. Mary was stunned. "Why are all these dishes my favorites? Could it be that we have the same tastes?" A chill ran through me. Did something go wrong? Over the years, although I had contact with the White family, it was limited to holiday visits. The fact that the White family had held on to this favor for so long was because they were people who knew how to repay kindness. But I immediately agreed to come over. Our taste for a bit, but these are things all girls love to eat. Mary didn't doubt it and instinctively looked at me, which made me very nervous. She said, "I haven't eaten this much delicious food in a long time. And thank you for today's company matters." I grinned and said, "If it's good, then eat more. Today's company matter, I am even more to blame. The main responsibility is still on me. Losing your job is not a big deal. I'm preparing a surprise for you. He'll tell you in 3 days." Mary's eyes lit up, her big eyes scanning me up and down, trying to find a clue. I gave her a sharp look. "Just eat properly. Don't aim too high. But are you really that curious? If you don't tell me, this meal might be done." I shook my head. "I'm not afraid of you. Let me give you a hint. This surprise is about your work." Mary quickly picked up her chopsticks and ate heartily, trying to hide the joy at the corner of her mouth. I frowned, watching the grease around her mouth, and took a napkin to wipe it away. Mary looked up at me, our lips accidentally touching. Her face instantly flushed red. "I'm sorry." This reminded me of Michael calling Mary a coward and a weakling. Seeing her startled, I gently comforted her. "We are a couple just one certificate away. You didn't do anything wrong. There's no need to apologize. Even if you did something wrong, I would forgive you. I'm not the kind of man who hits or scolds his wife, because that's something weak men do." Mary cried and stepped forward to hug me. "George, honey, shall we get our marriage certificate tomorrow?" She now understands that I am the best person for her. I ruffled her hair. "Just one meal, and I've already whisked you away." Mary wipes away her tears. "Then I'm willing to see her like this." I was overwhelmed with emotions. I had made up my mind. This time I will protect you completely. A day later, Mary and I registered our marriage. 3 days later, I brought her to a building downstairs. There I took out a gift wrapped in red cloth and asked her to unwrap it and have a look. Mary was full of anticipation, her nervous little hands unsure of where to rest. As the red cloth was lifted, a property deed appeared inside. This is me selling the technical shares my father left me, and the buyer is none other than Michael. The owner listed above is her name, Mary. I asked this for me. Mary asked in disbelief. I ruffled her hair. "Did you forget I said 3 days ago that I wanted to give you a gift? This is it. Do you like it?" Mary's eyes were filled with tears, and it pained me deeply to see her like that. "Husband, thank you." Unable to break this bad habit, I kissed her directly. "This is your punishment." "I like it. Honey, can you do it one more time?" I had the feeling of shooting myself in the foot. Seeing my awkward expression, Mary smiled at the corner of her mouth. Just as we were being intimate, a voice broke everything. "Isn't this big brother and sister-in-law? Are you here to congratulate me on the opening of my new company too?" I looked back at Michael, and his appearance had changed drastically compared to 3 days ago. His head and face were covered in whip marks, and not even makeup could conceal them. Seeing this, I almost wanted to laugh. Michael arrogantly thought that by marrying the disabled female CEO, he could control the white family through her. So, he frantically showered her with attention, putting Sophia through intense rehabilitation training. The marriage had the opposite effect, worsening Sophia's condition. In contrast, Sophia directly locked him in the basement for a day, subjecting him to all kinds of torment. Once, Mary passed by and heard the voices. I deeply understand the pain Michael has endured. George, don't get too cocky. When Sophia fully rises to take control of the white group, it will be time to drive Mary out of the white family. Do you think this is the end? Look at the building behind you. I've already bought it. It's going to be used to start a cosmetics company. Michael was smug, which only made me frown deeply. This was his attempt to seize Mary's achievements from the previous life. I grabbed his hand and said, Michael, do you understand cosmetics? This field is full of hidden dangers. Michael shook off my hand. Are you worried about me? Fine, then give Mary to me. It'll make her the project leader, and I'm sure her abilities will be put to good use. Seeing the saliva at the corner of his mouth, I waved him off. Anyway, I've said all I needed to say. Take care of yourself. Mary secretly let out a sigh of relief. After Michael left, he coaxed Sophia to increase the intensity of her rehabilitation, hoping to get her to stand up, but things didn't go as planned. Sophia actually felt like she could stand. This made Michael even more proud, and for a time, he thrived between the White and Smith families. But I was not optimistic about it. Improving? That's just a final flicker of life. After all, she was a woman who lived many years in the previous life and had a daughter. Even if there are no children this time, I still can't bear to see Sophia lying in bed for her entire life. This would only benefit Michael. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I came to see Sophia, but she was not surprised at all. However, I had no intention of digging deeper. I took out a prescription from my pocket and handed it to her. Inside is a prescription and a rehabilitation training plan. But remember one thing, too much is as bad as too little. Sophia took it without even glancing at it, her eyes fixed intently on me. Oh, you like me? But why didn't you choose me back then? If you had chosen me, I would have definitely agreed. Of course, it's not too late now. If you divorce Mary, I can agree to be with you. I never expected to hear these words from Sophia. There are only two possible explanations for this situation. One is that there are problems in their relationship and Sophia is considering a breakup. The other is that Sophia has found someone new. No matter which path, I don't want to get too involved. Ultimately, that's a matter between the two of them. You're overthinking it. I came to see you because I happened to get an old prescription that was left behind. After all, you're now my sister-in-law. So, I hope you don't misunderstand. I love Mary very much, and I don't want you to bully her. As I left, Sophia's face immediately darkened. She bent down to pick up the ancient prescription on the ground, but stumbled, falling to the ground along with her wheelchair. Holding the ancient prescription, Sophia murmured to herself, George, don't think you can escape from the palm of my hand. Carefully packing up the ancient prescription, she called her assistant. After giving a series of instructions, she looked up toward the window. Outside the window, I was about to leave the White family villa. I kept feeling like someone was watching me, and I looked back several times. I found no abnormalities at all. With the company, Michael was hardly ever home and showed no concern for Sophia's recovery. He was fully devoted to developing cosmetics and registering new trademarks. But he didn't realize that his skills were only second-rate, an outsider managing insiders. Even with experience from his previous life, he still couldn't handle the highly technological cosmetics industry. But Mary was different. I managed the company while she was in charge of research and development. Several successes in the previous life were all disrupted by Michael. Mary, are you thirsty? I offered a full 360-degree service, massaging Mary's shoulders as she just walked out of the lab. She went from resisting at first to now accepting it without hesitation. Whether it works out or not depends on this coming month. Mary grabbed my hand, lifted her head, and gently kissed me on the cheek. Michael, feeling troubled, wanted to find Mary and happened to see this scene from outside the window. Mary, you filthy, kissing in public. Don't you have any shame? I calmly looked out the window at Michael, returning a mocking smile. Mary, a bit scared of Michael, hid in my arms. "George, get out here right now." His voice was loud, attracting many employees. "What's going on? Why does this Michael keep coming to our company every day? Is there even a need to guess? It's because the cosmetics R&D isn't going well, and they want to poach our boss. Does he think we're idiots? Everyone knows how to choose between a boss and an employee." Hearing this, Michael was so furious his eyes nearly popped out, but I also knew I couldn't let it escalate, or else both the White and Smith families would lose face because of Michael. Having figured this out, I told Mary to stay inside while I went to meet my biological younger brother. He brought over 2 cups of coffee, but I didn't take a single sip. Michael was not surprised. We both knew deep down we had both been reborn. So when we talked, we got straight to the point. "George, if you're lending me the person, just tell me your conditions." His words reminded me of the last life. After I married Sophia, he was always against me in every way. He said he regretted it and hoped I would give the person to him. Absolutely ridiculous. What does he take marriage for? Both times he was the one who made the first move. So why is it like this again? He struck at me just as Mary and I had our daughter and were preparing to hold a celebration banquet. My guard was at its lowest, and he took advantage of that. Reborn into this life, I am now 120% alert to him. The current Michael is exactly the same as in the last life, full of cunning. What I need to do now is to respond to all changes with unchanging vigilance, always on guard against him. When he shows a weakness, I will deliver a fatal blow. Since both sides have already torn off the mask, I see no need to hold back. In a previous life, he caught me off guard. This time, he won't have any chance. I used an ancient method to bribe Sophia, believing she is unlikely to support him as she did before. So, he doesn't have many chances to make mistakes, maybe only one. Impossible. Not only are we competitors now, but I definitely won't lend you anyone. The conditions Michael proposed were tempting, but I would never agree. However, this time, Michael was acting a bit off. Based on his usual personality, if he can't get something from me, he will complain to Mother and use her to pressure me. It seems this time he has another trick up his sleeve. Mary heard my thoughts and was incredulous. "You say our company has a mole from the other side. How is that possible?" I whispered a few words in her ear. "Then let's wait and see if I win. This time you have to take the lead." Mary's face flushed red as she patted my chest. Not serious at all, but Mary soon became serious. She left a fake formula in the lab while hiding the real formula data. One day, the White and Smith families gathered to discuss my marriage when Mary suddenly received a notification on her phone. Someone entered the laboratory to steal data, and that person was none other than Secretary Johnson, who was by her side. Mary tugged at my sleeve, and I greeted both my mother and father before heading to the nearby lounge. Through the surveillance, it was clearly seen that Secretary Johnson headed straight to the laboratory, used the password to open the safe, and took the formula inside. Done in one go, it took no more than 2 minutes. Mary said with a cold face, "This was premeditated. How dare she? I consider myself kind to her, knowing her family situation is difficult, and I gave her this important position out of pity." I patted her palm to comfort her. "So, from now on, you have to keep your eyes wide open and never have this kind of sympathy again. In the business world, there are only interests, no feelings." After my little lecture, Mary was clearly a bit unhappy. "What about you?" I wrapped my arm around her waist. "What do you think? I'm almost like a companion now. What more do you want from me?" Mary stuck out her tongue. Shameless. After saying that, her tone shifted. "So, how do you plan to deal with Secretary Johnson?" I rubbed her head without anger. "You're the company's legal representative now. So, handling it is up to you, but my advice is to call the police directly. Just because she's vulnerable doesn't mean the law can be ignored." Watching her hesitate, I thought to myself, the road to training her will be long and arduous. We returned to the hall, and Michael happily ran in. Seeing Mary and me come back, he made a contemptuous gesture towards both of us. After all, Michael's company, which now controls technology, is the great ship that Yang Fan is setting sail on. He approached his mother and the other two, proudly showing off the new cosmetic product the company had just developed. "Mom, Dad, my company has just developed a revolutionary cosmetic product. It doesn't harm the skin, and its effectiveness is at least 3 times better than existing cosmetics. When the time comes, it'll definitely save you 30 sets. Mr. and Mrs. White smiled and praised him, saying they would definitely support the new product launch. Mother was also extremely happy, even putting aside her usual boasts. Son, however much money you need, Mom will provide it for you. Mary was holding back a laugh, and fearing she might feel uncomfortable, I tickled her underarm a little. Huh, Mary laughed, drawing the attention of everyone present. Her fingers gripped the flesh at my waist tightly, causing me to break out in a cold sweat from the pain. I quickly tried to make up for it, hearing that my younger brother developed a new product. Mary was overjoyed. She just told me that none of us prepared a congratulatory gift. The people present relaxed, except Michael, who stared coldly at Mary. But before he could question her, both parents happily started discussing the wedding. I exchanged a calm glance with Mary, and from her eyes, I sensed something was wrong. The night was likely to be a painful one. A month later, Michael's company eagerly held a new product launch. Mr. and Mrs. White, along with Mom and others, attended, and even Sophia showed up. But after not seeing Mary and me, she turned and left, not giving Michael any face at all. Michael stood before the media, loudly promoting the effects of a new product. This kind of cosmetic, launched without clinical trials just to seize the market first, is simply harmful. He thought that by releasing it before us, he could gain the advantage. How could he consider brotherly loyalty? With the media's extensive promotion at the launch event, the new product indeed sold extremely well, breaking 10 million in a single day. Michael deliberately showed off again at home, even giving Mary some cosmetics to disgust her. But the good times didn't last long. The first batch of customers using the new product started having problems. Michael immediately spent money to suppress the reports and hired online trolls to spread news about celebrity marriages or divorces, trying to divert attention. However, once the official media got involved, the media's tone shifted rapidly. He went from being the best entrepreneur to a spokesperson for counterfeit goods. The White family immediately distanced themselves from him, stating that the woman had been deceived. Mr. and Mrs. White approached the Smith family to cancel the engagement, with the mother deeply worried. Seeing Michael, they no longer showed the friendly expressions they once had. This time, he left the Smith family out in the cold, with the initial investment basically going down the drain and still facing huge compensation costs later on. No one expected Michael to choose the approach of selling products first and holding the press conference afterward. On top of that, he invented Crazy Thursday, offering huge member discounts on new products. He took the promotional efforts from the previous life to an extraordinary level. This resulted in millions of orders being sold, but only a small portion was recovered. Michael lowered his head, not daring to speak. I stood aside, holding Mary's hand, not speaking up for him either. He ended up in this situation entirely because of his own actions. The villa was surrounded by reporters outside, and countless victims were besieging the villa. Mother pointed at Michael's nose and demanded, "What on earth is going on?" Michael looked at me, and I thought he would finally make a decision to confess. Unexpectedly, he said something shocking. "Mom, it's all Big Brother." He deliberately framed me. Mother looked at me, full of suspicion. I was about to explain when Mary interrupted. "You protected me so many times. Now, let me protect you once, Mom." "Hey, Race, what happened?" "Michael sent someone to steal the formula from my company and started production without testing it. This is actually partly my fault. I locked the formula in the safe, but she managed to crack it open." "So, you knew all along, but why didn't you stop me?" "I think you did it on purpose." Michael rushed over to stop me, but I held him back. "Brother, I don't like hearing you say that. Was it us who let you into the lab to steal the unfinished formula? Or are you saying we forced you to launch the cosmetics without testing?" "Actually, that's not true at all. It's your greed that's making you turn things around." Mentioning turning things around, Michael finally panicked. He grabbed my arm and knelt down, begging for mercy. "Brother, please stop. This whole thing is my fault. I shouldn't have entered the cosmetics industry. I just thought it was profitable and wanted to give my mother a better life. I will bear the consequences of the mistakes I made." Michael spoke simply, but between the lines, it was clear he was doing it all for the family. I watched him perform from the side. His crying was heart-wrenching. It seems he wants to pressure me through our mother, trying to shift the blame onto me. If it were in the previous life, I might have helped him, but in this life, I will only watch coldly and won't hesitate to kick him when he's down. Because those reporters outside were the ones I called. To completely crush Michael, we have to take down the big tree that is our mother. Those reporters outside the door truly live up to their reputation of being paid to do their work. Before long, both Michael and Michael's company trended on social media. The entire internet was criticizing him, calling him the king of counterfeit goods and a troublemaker. But the fact is exactly like this, without any distortion of the truth. Poor Michael. He hasn't even had the chance to make his mark and is already infamous. His attempt to seize Mary's assets ended in failure. Mother still couldn't bear to see Michael go to prison. She looked at me and said, "George, help your brother." When Mother spoke, I pretended to ponder for a long time before reluctantly responding. "Mom, it's not that I don't want to help, but I just can't. The situation now can't be solved with money. It's about how to calm the victim's anger. What do you want to do?" The mother vaguely felt she had fallen into her son's trap, but she was completely powerless. Meanwhile, the storm online shifted its focus to the White and Smith families, and this was my doing. I intended to cut off all escape routes for the White and Smith families. This will probably have to come at the cost of my brother's reputation. I hesitated to speak, looking at the reporters and crowd outside the door. Along with the incessantly ringing phone, Mother slammed the table and said, "Let's do it the way you said. Then let's have Big Brother record an apology video first and announce it to the entire internet." And then, before I could finish, Michael interrupted me. "If we do that, how am I supposed to do business in the future?" Mother suddenly stood up and slapped him across the face. "You knew the consequences would be this severe, so why did you still go ahead and do such a despicable thing?" "Go on," Mother continued. "Then have my younger brother kneel and apologize to the victims outside the villa and actively offer compensation. I believe as long as they see his sincerity." Hearing this, Michael grabbed my neck angrily and shouted fiercely, "George, I get it. You want to ruin me." Slap. The sound of a slap rang out. This time it was Mr. White who struck. "Michael, I never expected you to be such an irresponsible man. I must have been blind back then to marry Sophia off to you." Mother's face was dark. And although this incident affected the White family, Mr. White scolded Michael right in front of her, clearly showing he didn't take her seriously. Mary and I tried to persuade Mr. White not to be angry. Michael glared fiercely at the two of us, as if wanting to say something, but swallowed it hard. "Michael, if you dare to talk back again, get out of the Smith family." At this moment, the authority of the head of the Smith family was unmistakably displayed. These words shattered the last shred of his hope like a stone. Michael could only follow my instructions and record a video to apologize to the Nizens. Then he knelt outside the door, letting the victims throw eggs and vegetable leaves all over him. Seeing this scene, it was already very difficult for Michael to recall anything. Besides Sophia, he had no one left to support him. Michael seemed like a different person, completely turned dark. He knelt on the ground like a dead man, motionless for a long time. The victims saw how sincere the Smith family was and, having received compensation, turned and left. Sophia suddenly appeared and had someone drag Michael away. Michael looked at Sophia as if he had grasped the last lifeline. "Sophia, please save me. He'll listen to you from now on, even if it means being your dog. I have only one request. Help me get revenge." As he spoke, he looked at me. "Help me take him down, and he'll tell you a secret." Just as Michael was about to continue, I already knew what he was going to say and quickly stopped him. Unexpectedly, he was ungrateful and shouted angrily at me, "George, what act of being a good person are you trying to put on now? It's all your fault that I ended up like this. You think you're all about what's best for the White and Smith families, but really, you're just trying to isolate me. You're afraid of me, aren't you?" He reached to grab my arm, but I shook him off. I have to say, Michael is still a perceptive guy. "Michael, if it weren't for me today, you probably would have been torn apart by those victims. I'm afraid of you." Why on earth should I be afraid of you? Saying that, I left with Mary. Michael was a bit stunned. Someone take him away from me. Leaving the main gate, I burst into laughter. I've already avenged half of the grudge from my previous life. Just as I was feeling proud, I suddenly received a text message on my phone. George, although Michael is lost, our battle has only just begun. The signature was 3 characters, Sophia. Looking at this message, a chill ran through my heart. Sophia was far more terrifying than Michael. The main thing about this woman is her queen-like nature. She wants to control every aspect of the man. In a previous life, she locked me in the villa, subjecting me to endless torment. It was only by treating her disability that I managed to gain a slim chance of survival. Moreover, looking at her legs, they have clearly improved a lot. I really wanted to slap myself hard. I shouldn't have handed the ancient formula over to Sophia back then. I warned Mary to be careful of her sister. At the same time, she also needed to watch out for Michael, that venomous snake. I was afraid the ending of the last life would repeat. I even hired 4 bodyguards to stay close and protect both Mary and me. The company's cosmetics research and development went smoothly, but enemies around were stirring. Even the shell company of Michael was taken over by Sophia, who reopened a cosmetics company under a different name. The pressure brought by Sophia was far greater than that for Michael. This was also what I was most worried about. On the contrary, Mary was eager to compete and directly challenged Sophia to a showdown. As soon as Mary launched her first cosmetic product, Mary Cosmetics, the other party immediately followed with a new product, Sophia Cosmetics. The 2 sides were completely at odds, even scheduling their product launch events on the same day. Although I approached Sophia several times, hoping for a peaceful and profitable cooperation, she flatly refused and even made unreasonable demands. Perhaps she needed a failure. So, at the new product launch event, Sophia directly challenged her on stage, and Mary agreed without hesitation. Both sides would randomly select 10 audience members on the spot to try the cosmetics, and then the 20 people would score them live. Before the competition, I carefully checked the audience and found that Sophia hadn't tampered with anything secretly. As for the outcome, it was no longer something I could predict. Sophia being able to launch a new product so quickly meant she had clearly been preparing for it all along, and Mary, for some unknown reason, actually wanted to compete with Sophia. The current situation had already diverged from the previous life, and even I couldn't control it anymore. This time, Mary has to rely on herself, but I believe in her. She will definitely achieve victory. However, this time I miscalculated. Sophia won with an overwhelming 19-11 advantage. Just as the host was about to announce the result, Michael appeared. At this moment, his legs were a bit lame, completely different from his previously arrogant and overbearing demeanor. Wife, why didn't you tell me you were holding a new product launch? I knew you could win, just as expected. Now, as long as we bring down Mary Cosmetics, both the White and Smith families will be in our hands. Michael was interrupted by Sophia before he could finish speaking. Who told you I want to bring down Mary Cosmetics? Starting today, Mary Cosmetics and Sophia Cosmetics will both launch new products, and our 2 companies will also be integrated. Hearing this, Michael was a bit stunned. He loudly questioned Sophia. Sophia, tell me why exactly are you doing this? By ruining Mary Cosmetics now, Sophia Cosmetics can dominate the market alone in the future. What you're doing is unwise. I will truthfully report this matter to Uncle. Unfortunately, Sophia completely ignored her threats. Who do you think you are trying to meddle in the White family's private affairs? Mr. White's voice rang out as he patted my shoulder and said, choosing someone like you shows Mary has good taste. As for Michael, you really disappoint me. You're hopeless. You're just blinded by money with no sense of brotherhood at all. Fortunately, your mother didn't hand over the Smith Group to you. Otherwise, it would have ended up like Michael's company 3 months ago. Michael's face darkened, a murderous intent flashing in his eyes, but he quickly restrained it. Dad, you were right to scold me. Michael simply admitted his mistake. The 2 companies had just completed their merger when suddenly 2 major foreign cosmetics giants came charging in. Mary and the others seemed to have been prepared in advance. cooperating to face the enemy and forcefully carving out a broad path. At this moment, it caused a sensation nationwide. This was the first time a domestic cosmetic product had defeated foreign brands. The only one unhappy was Michael. His plan had failed once again, and the White family soon turned their investigation towards him. So, he made a decision for the sake of our ancestors. Unable to go after Mary and me, he actually kidnapped our mother. Receiving this news truly shocked me. Without any hesitation, I called the police immediately. At the same time, following Michael's instructions, he took the signed equity transfer agreement to the kidnapping location. Our mother was tied up on the shore, her eyes confused and helpless. She lectured him with reason, but unfortunately, Michael had already decided to go all the way down this path. He even found her annoying and gagged her mouth. I ran over, and seeing the scene, I was about to rush forward. Mary stopped me, whispering, "Honey, be rational. He has a knife." Michael turned to look at me. "George, why did you take everything from me? If it was like this in the last life, and it has to be like this in this life too, then you might as well die with me again." I was anxious and desperate, not daring to anger Michael at all. Mother can't swim if she falls in. I'm afraid she would drown in less than 10 seconds, so I could only agree to all his demands. This time I secretly blamed myself for being careless. I never expected him to actually harm his own biological mother. And all of this was actually his own choice. In the previous life, he chose Mary first. In this life, he chose Sophia first. He thought this time he could get what he wanted. But his greed extended from the last life to now. He handed over all the signed documents. Michael checked them over and said with satisfaction, "Big brother, now only one last thing remains. If you jump down from here, he'll let Mother go, and he'll also let Mary go." How about that? Mary's neck flushed red with anger. "In your dreams?" Husband, don't believe him. Who knows if what he's saying is true? I held Mary close and whispered, "Don't worry, wife. I've already prepared a plan." I just stepped forward. Michael tried to kick me down. I took the opportunity to hold him, and the two of us fell into the water together. I was just about to take out the breathing pills from my pocket when Michael slapped them away. He laughed wildly. "George, do you think we'll be reborn after we die? If we can be reborn this time, I'll have both Sophia and Mary. I want to see how you turn the tables then." He was simply insane that I had no idea how much time had passed. I just woke up in the hospital room, feeling like all my energy and spirit had vanished. I looked at Mary by the bedside. "Honey, tell me what happened in the meantime." Mary cleared her throat and held my arm. "After you and Michael fell into the water, you were unconscious from water inhalation for 3 days and only woke up today. I felt something was wrong, but I had no proof. A few days later, I recovered and was discharged from the hospital. Michael also survived, but he was immediately arrested by the police. This time, Mother didn't speak up for him. He's probably going to be stuck inside for the rest of his life. But he only has himself to blame. After being discharged, Mary and I held the wedding with the sole exception of Sophia, who didn't show up. She's someone I don't want to see either, so I'm actually quite happy about that. The company grew several times larger under Mary's leadership and eventually went public. A year later, Mary and I had a daughter. Meanwhile, persuaded by my mother, I took over the Smith Group. As for the White Group, it ended up in the hands of my wife, Mary. One day, I heard Mary talking on the phone with a woman, laughing happily. Curious, I quietly moved closer. "Honey, eavesdropping is impolite." 20 years later, Michael was released from prison. He spoke and immediately knelt down. "No matter how much we swap lives, I'm not as good as..."